Welcome to the Tax Playbook, your premier resource for all things taxes. I'm Trenda Hackett, CPA, and I'm with the Web CPA Virtual Tax Clinic. So I want you to visit us at www.virtualtaxclinic.com, and anything that I ever talk about in these videos, if you need help with, we can help you in the Virtual Tax Clinic. So let's get into our topic on today. This video is part 3 of a 3-part series that I've been doing on PPP loans. And this was part of the COVID funding that is available for individuals who are self-employed, independent contractors, sole proprietorships with or without employees, and small businesses and nonprofits. And part 1, I talked about who was eligible. Part 2, I talked about how to calculate your maximum PPP loan amount, talked about loan terms. But in this last part of this video, in this last series, I want to talk about you've gotten your PPP money. Now what? I want to talk about how you can position yourself to have that loan forgiven. So let's get into it. So how to get your PPP loan forgiven. And I have it all laid out here on the board. And these are key dates with the PPP funding: March 27th, June 5th, December 27th. If you looked in the first video, you'll know the importance of these dates. So how to get your loan forgiven. You've gotten the money. In order to get your loan forgiven, there are practically 4 things you need to do. Spend the money on covered expenses in a covered period. Make sure you maintain your employee and compensation levels. And the last thing, you have to complete an application for loan forgiveness. Now, I talk about covered expenses. What are covered expenses? What can you spend the money on and have your loan fully forgiven? This is, when you see these percentages, this is what you need to do to have it fully forgiven. But just know that this is not an all or nothing. If, for example, if you spend the money on less than 60% of payroll costs, your amount that's forgiven will be reduced. So it's not an all or nothing. So covered expenses, payroll costs, you must spend 60% on the funds of the funds on payroll costs, on covered payroll costs. Included in this is the payment to the owner. That payment is capped at $15,385 if your cover period that we'll talk about is 8 weeks. But a maximum payment that a business owner can pay to himself, him or herself, as part of the payroll cost is $15,385 if you're 8-week covered period, or $20,833 max. What else can you spend the money on? Mortgage, interest, rent, and utilities that were in existence as of February 15, 2020. If you have a lease or mortgage payments or utilities after that date, they do not qualify. So the key date for mortgage, interest, rent, and utilities is February 15, 2020. I have these expenses in different colors because prior to December the 27th, the only thing you could spend the money on to have total forgiveness is payroll costs, mortgage, interest, rent, and utilities. But as of December the 27th, you can spend money on operations, property damage, worker protection, and supplier costs. However, if you still haven't had your loan forgiven and you got your loan before December the 27th, you can then go back and include expenditures for these type expenses when you make application for loan forgiveness. Okay, so you may be asking what's included in operations. That's like your software, your internet service, or your cloud service. Operations, property damage. There were some expenses you may have incurred due to a result of the public disturbances and the vandalism and looting that took place in 2020. If there are expenses that your insurance did not reimburse you for, this is unreimbursed property damage costs, you can include those in that 40%. Worker protection, these are any expenditures, be it you had to make renovations or improvement to your property, or even if you have your business in your home, if you had to install a drive-through in your facility, if you had to install sneeze guard, anything PPE related to make sure that your business is in compliance with COVID-19, you can include that in this 40% of non-payroll costs. And supplier costs, these are any goods or supplies that are essential to your business. So we got 60% on payroll costs, 40% on these non-payroll costs. Then the next thing, number 2, is to spend the money on these expenses within the cover period. Now this is where the dates are important. If your loan was between March 27 and June 4th, you had an 8-week cover period that starts after the money is dispersed to you. So you have to spend the money on this. If you got your loan within between March 27 and June 4th, you got 8 weeks after the date of the loan. If you got your loan June 5th to June 26th, you could choose either an 8 or a 24-week cover period. And however, if you got your loan December 27 and after, you can choose your cover period between 8 to 24 weeks. So that means you can choose 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, 11 weeks, but up from 8 to 24 weeks. Then the other thing you have to remember, that during this cover period, you have to make sure you maintain your employee and compensation levels. If you started the cover period with 10 employees, your goal is you want to have 10 employees getting paid at the same level at the end of the cover period in order to have your loan totally forgiven. However, if you do have a reduction, that reduction cannot be more than 25%, or else you have to reduce the amount of your loan forgiveness. And then the final thing, you have to complete the application. The deadline to complete the application, you want to apply for forgiveness before the loan is due. Remember, these loans have a maturity date of 5 years. And also remember that your first payment is not due until 10 months until after you get the loan. So you may want to apply for forgiveness somewhere during that 10-month deferment period. But remember, you cannot apply until after whatever your covered period is. So be sure to go back and look at the other 2 videos. That's all I have for you today. Again, like this video, share this video, comment on this video, and subscribe to this channel. And if you have any questions or you need additional information, you need help, please visit us at www.virtualtaxclinic.com. So you go out and you have a lovely day. Bye-bye.